Welcome to EntreProgrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
All right, we're live.
Live.
Yeah.
Man,
Yay!
he's having audio issues.
Yeah.
Am I still having audio issues?
Yeah.
You're hard to hear, and it sounds like you're eating your mic, even though we can see that you're not eating your mic.
It's in your ear.
Yeah, it was working. Now it's
Yeah.
now
I
it's
think it
very-
might be back to your phone or whatever you're on, iPad or whatever. And
No, I mean, I hear you guys here.
Huh, that's interesting. Now it seemed to be better.
I don't know.
You need
all right.
these, the most reliable, the old faithful of headphones.
Yes.
You chased
Although
him
John
away,
will
John.
John will mock you incessantly if you complain about the lack of headphone jack on your phone.
Yes. Although it's become annoying actually because yeah, it is actually become annoying. I mean, I use AirPods for the phone, but
Yeah.
okay.
You're
Keep
still
talking.
recording.
You still sound really quiet. I've not had a lot of luck with Bluetooth. Here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not my turn this week. Oh, man.
So I was just looking it's kind of cool, the other EntreProgrammer groups.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Most of them are past like episode 52 now, like the initial 4. They're all like, so they've been doing this for a year. That's kind of
Well,
cool.
Wow.
not SEAL Team. SEAL Team just they bit the dust this week.
Oh, did they? What?
Yeah, I got an email from Joe saying that SEAL Team had rung the bell. That's a little SEAL joke there for everyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're tapping out. So Joe I think is going to be moving over to Team Poodle.
Oh, okay. So you're switching them
So-
around. Okay.
Yeah. So he's going to still, but we're down one team here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I guess you'll have to get Eric the billing on that.
Already
Fix it.
taken care of.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So
Well, darn. I was just about to say, but I guess everyone can't survive. But at least 3 of the teams made it. Well, I guess all of them made it a year. But
yeah.
then the Wolfpack team has made it half a year. So that's cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Joe said that they just got to the point where they were all working on such different things that wasn't really helping them anymore. So
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can you guys still hear me?
yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
a lot better, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just leave it at that. No video, unfortunately. I
Okay.
don't know what's going
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll just watch the talking logo.
Yeah.
on. Oh,
Yeah.
shit. I hope it's not too big because I know the colors are stupid.
I see spots every time it goes away. Every time your logo comes up and then it goes away, I'm seeing purple spots. So that's cool.
That's the branding I always intended.
Yeah.
It's literally branded on my retina. So
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to get you a pair of headphones though, so you can.
Man,
I love that
I-
retinal negative branding. That's just awesome.
I might
Like when you-
I might patent that.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a new level of branding nobody had ever thought about.
There we go. I'll just pick some garish colors that when you look at them and then look at the blank white wall, it actually looks great.
Done for life.
So I started 2 podcasts this week.
Sweet.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We recorded React Roundup yesterday, and we're recording Views on Vue today.
Nice. I like the
And-
names.
Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to get those going. And yeah, it's funny because I tweeted out that we recorded that episode of Views on Vue, and I had a bunch of people, well, when's it going to come out? And I'm like, you can't just turn these things around overnight. I guess we could, but it doesn't typically work that way. So, yeah. And yeah, the Vue podcast, I had a whole bunch of people asking me about that one too. So, they're like, when's it going to come out?
The empire
Like,
grows.
yeah. So it's like, give me a couple weeks. We kind of have to, change our routine a little bit. And yeah, we'll get them out. I hate recording on Friday though, but there's nothing I can do. That was the only time people could meet. So
how many total podcasts is it now?
11.
Wow. Okay.
on the network, I think that makes it 11.
Are you looking to hire someone to do any of them?
What was that?
Are you going to hire someone to do any of them?
So the Freelancer Show and the iFreak Show and React Native Radio are all run by other people. I started 2 of the 3 of them, but I'm not currently a host on them. I retired from the 2 that I was on. I'm probably going to do these for the next 6 months or so, and I'm probably going to start another 1, maybe 2 in that time. And then as I spin up new shows, or however that works, then I'll retire from those shows. But I found that if I can get them some momentum, they tend to last.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like we had a web security show, and the people who were running that show kind of all got busy, and it fell apart. And I think if I had been involved and we had kind of pushed it through for a year, I think it would have lasted. So anyway, I've also had a lot of people ask me about sponsoring that one, so I'm kind of tempted to see if I can revive it.
How do you pay the people you hire to do these podcasts? Like, what's the structure?
Right. So I'm not paying anybody to be on the shows. A lot of them come on to get exposure. A lot of them come on because they want to be part of the conversation out there in the community. And so it works out pretty nicely as far as that goes.
Couldn't be better.
I do a rev share with the shows that I'm not on, because I'm not lining up guests for them or recording them or anything like that. But the rev share comes after I pay Eric to edit the shows. So iFreaks hasn't gotten that; those guys haven't been paid, even though I'm not on the show anymore. And Freelancer Show, those guys, they haven't been paid either, because those shows haven't actually broken even. But they do bring some traffic, and iFreaks actually now is sponsored almost exclusively by Microsoft. So
you pay them off of gross profit, not of revenue.
I pay them off of net profit.
Off of net profit.
Or gross profit. Well, however that works. I pay them whatever I pay them after expenses, and the shows haven't met their expenses until now. The iFreaks is now currently getting to the point where they're gonna make their expenses. So
that's pretty amazing that the biggest sponsor on that is on iFreaks. iPhone Apple development is Microsoft.
Yeah, they have Mobile Center is what they're
Right.
sponsoring. So they have their tool chain.
Yep.
For building and deploying apps. So
if you can't beat them,
anyway,
Yep.
yeah. Well, I'm trying to get them to sponsor React Native Radio for the same thing.
Yeah.
React Native Mobile, but they're like, look, we're gonna just do the one podcast for now. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, which spots do you want? And they're like, all of them. Okay.
We're Microsoft motherfuckers.
Well, I mean, for like 3 months for iFreaks at their current traffic level, I mean, it was like $4,000. So
yeah, it's like when I go into
sponsorship. But.
When I go into Sprouts and they're like, "How many Quest bars do you want?" And I'm like, "All of them, motherfucker."
That's right.
Who the fuck do you think I am?
Yeah.
Give me all your Quest bars.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's been really exciting.
Well,
I'm
they know,
starting to get.
John is not joking because he will eat all of them.
That's right. Just put them in my mouth right now. Oh, anyway, I was up late last night working on getting the videos up from NG Atlanta, and so I need to hire somebody to do it. I needed to figure out if I could just post the videos or if there was something else I needed to get done. Now that I know how they're going together, I think I'm just going to pay somebody to do it. But yeah, I need to get.
Are those going up on YouTube or?
Yeah, YouTube.
Okay.
So currently I have 2 videos up. One's with the guy who has a course on upgrading from Angular 1 to Angular 2 or 5. They're currently Angular 5. The other one is with the team lead for Angular and just talking about the new features coming in Angular. So, and then I have one on Ionic that I'm pushing up, and I'm just working on getting these other ones done. But it's a pain because I'm kind of frustrated. The video camera that I got doesn't really have an audio input that I can use, so I can't push audio into it, and the microphones on it really aren't great. And so I recorded them on the Zoom, but then what I have to do is I have to grab the audio off of the Zoom recording and mix it to mono and then put it on the video.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And line it up.
Yeah.
There's no audio drift in the even the longest video, which is nice, but yeah. So that's been kind of frustrating too. I just, I kind of hate doing it. And they're like 20 videos, so yeah. So that's also been interesting. Just kind of a new view on things. And I'd like to get a bigger presence on YouTube. So, this is kind of just showing me that I need a little bit nicer equipment. Though I think if I record a show on YouTube, starting right now, and I'm seriously thinking about doing like a daily show for 20 minutes. If I do that, I'll probably just use my webcam and current recording equipment. It's only when I travel and stuff that I might have to do something different. And even then, I think if I just used my laptop camera and a USB mic that was halfway decent, I think people would be okay with it because it'd be, oh, he's on the road. So anyway, I'm kind of toying with that. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. I also I had the chance to, and this is something that kind of came out of some work that I'm doing with my business coach. But yesterday I went to my son's school, and I have the Astro Reality Lunar Pro, which is a model of the moon. It's about that big, so about the size of a softball, a little bit bigger. The thing's a little bit heavier than you would think looking at it, because it's 3D printed and it's solid.
Oh.
But what it is you point your iPad at a camera at it, and then on the screen it shows you like where all the lunar landings were and stuff.
Oh,
and
that's
if you
cool.
tap on the lunar landing site, then it gives you the option of watching videos from the launch or landing, or people walking on the moon or stuff like that, and gives you information about the moon missions and all that stuff. Anyway, the first graders were eating it up. They totally loved it, and so. I have a review unit from CES that Astro Reality made for the solar system. So they have all the planets in the solar system. And so I'm probably going to go back and do the solar system with them here in a week or something.
Total propaganda.
But,
we didn't land on the moon.
Yeah.
More of this propaganda now, just enhanced to the next level.
Yeah, there we go.
Here's the house where the man in the moon lives.
We can see our non-moon landing on fake stuff that you get off of pointing your camera at the moon model. But anyway, yeah, so that's been fun. And where this kind of came out of was, he had me put together kind of a model for my week. So every day I have different parts of the day blocked out for different things. And what that did is it kind of just opened up a spot on Thursday morning. And so it was easy. It was easy to rearrange one or two things and free that time up. And so I was able to go over there and do that. And that's the kind of thing that, people talk about, well, self-employed, isn't that scary? And I'm like, it's actually really nice because I can go over to the school and do this kind of stuff with my kids' class. So I kind of got the payoff this week, I guess, which is something that I think a lot of times we don't really get to see with kids, or with this stuff. We get so focused on what's the next thing, and it's like, oh, look, I'm getting the payoff. I'm getting the thing I've wanted from being self-employed. So
yeah,
really loving that. But yeah, and then I'm kind of torn with Michelle. She does everything I ask her to, and she does a decent job most of the time. But for whatever reason, things just never materialized on React Dev Summit. She's doing great with like lining up guests for the shows and things like that, and kind of keeping all that stuff on track. But yeah, things just didn't materialize. I don't think I gave her enough information. But yeah, she's like, I reached out to all the people on your list, and I didn't get any commitments from anybody. And so I emailed all of them back and basically said, hey, here's what we're doing. And yeah, I got like 5 or 6 people right off the bat that said, yo, yeah, I'll speak at React Dev Summit. So
interesting.
I think I need to clarify my instructions to her a little bit. So
well, maybe also that first email, maybe she needs to be sending that out under your name too.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. I'm trying to figure out how to do that because I don't want to give her access to my email account.
Yeah.
And I've set up like team@devchat.tv, but I could just have her send it from team@devchat with my name on it.
Exactly.
Because I wrote
your
the
name
email.
on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not like, it's a lie to have her send it, or, it's not weird because she's just sending what I wrote from me.
Right.
I'm just not hitting send.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, learning curve there, but yeah, just a lot of stuff kind of going on. I'm trying to get some of the stuff off my plate. So I'm trying to get these videos out. I also need to get the videos out from CES because it's been a month. So I'm trying to get all that done today, and that way it's just out of my head. And then I also got accepted my proposal to speak at Ruby Hack, which is a conference here in Salt Lake. So I'll be speaking there in May. So I have to figure out how blockchain works because that's what my talk's on.
Nice. I don't think anyone really knows, so you're probably safe.
What was that?
I don't think anyone actually knows, so I think you're probably safe. Just use the right words.
Just make something up. Like, don't even actually look it up. Just right? Like make up like how you think it should work. It'll be a real interesting talk. And then people will be like, whoa, wait a minute. And you're like, shh, no.
I'm the speaker. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Just shush people when they like have a problem. Shh, 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 shh.
Yeah. No, I've been watching some videos. It's actually pretty straightforward. Of course, it's like, here's the blockchain and here's how it works. Oh, that's pretty simple. Yeah, but then you have to do like proof of work, and and then you have to set up your blockchain so that people actually want to mine it. Oh, and then you so it's there's more to it than that. But anyway, it's kind of fun to figure this stuff out. So anyway,
cool. You picked a good time because Bitcoin is just zooming right in the ground.
Yeah. It's gone on a nosedive. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. But yeah, I also think that blockchain is probably going to wind up being used in other applications for other things, and so that'll also be interesting. So instead of having people have to mine the nonce for the next block in the chain, I'm guessing that there's you probably just set up other algorithms so people can just come up with a hash for their block, and then you just have a blockchain that way, and people add to the ledger. And so I'm kind of playing with some ideas around that and how that could work. So it won't be a currency that I put together. It's going to be something else. But anyway, it's all interesting stuff. So yeah, and then I'm documenting all this stuff because the stuff like emailing 90 people about speaking at a conference, not exactly my favorite thing. And so if I can get it so that somebody else can do that, then then we can pull together other things. So anyway, so that's kind of where things are at. But yeah, I'm kind of finding my own deficiencies with the whole process of creating processes and then solving those. And it is really nice to have somebody able to handle some of the stuff that we're dealing with here. So
sweet.
Anyway, that's pretty much what I have going on. I didn't mean to. I've been super tired too because I went back on keto this week.
Okay.
And between that and then getting up at 4 a.m. because I have to take my dad to dialysis twice a week at 4 a.m. Well, I have to be at his house at 4:30, so I have to be up at 4. And so I've just been getting up at 4 every morning and kind of getting myself in the routine of getting up. Between that and going back on keto, I've just been wiped.
Nice.
Out. So I think next week it'll be better, but this week's been kind of rough that way.
Well, I've been breaking everything this week.
That's okay. John retired, so you don't have to report to anyone.
I have officially completed the WooCommerce migration though. So
nice.
I am so happy. Yeah, everything now, all of our products are on WooCommerce. There were actually discovered a couple that I'd forgotten about. Let me see how many products we actually have. I think it's around 12. But yeah, I forgot that John had created another t-shirt. So we actually have 2 t-shirts and like 7 or 8 courses. And so I got everything.
How do you see your store?
It's simpleprogrammer.com/store, but actually you can't really see all the products there. They are the easiest way to see the sales pages for the products is to just go to simpleprogrammer.com and then click products. And then there's a drop down and it shows you all of them. But yeah, we've got, I've got 12. Okay. I've got 12 items, but 2 of them are multiple payments on. So with WooCommerce, you have like, if you want to sell something for like an upfront payment, or like 3 installments, you have to create actually 3 separate products and then link them together. It's kind of a pain, but yeah, I got everything. I got everything moved over, everything. So, and I basically just like shut down. Like yesterday, I just went in and redirected.
You cutting in and out for anyone else?
That wouldn't surprise me because I think it might just be you, Chuck, because your audio, your video has looked really bad for me the whole time. So
yeah, we didn't want to say anything, but it's you.
I even showered today.
Yeah, so I forget where I was going with that, but so I just redirected. So I did not make the most graceful transition here because I didn't want to. I just wanted to get it over with. So we have people that are still going to the old, trying to download stuff from the old links and they're not working. I turned the old links off and just redirected everything to the new storefront and the new course delivery platform. So basically, if anyone tries to access anything that they bought prior to this, they can't, and they have to email us. And so I'm just fielding those as they come in. At some point, I want to do like a big customer import, but if I did that, then I would actually have about 6,000 or 7,000 emails go out, and that would actually be a lot more work than just handling 2 or 3 a day of people that are trying to access their products. So,
right.
But yeah, so I'm really happy with it though. It's working. Like, I think it looks like I'm still tracking it, but it looks like we're actually getting a more like a better rate of sales, better conversion rate on the store. Like once people get over to the store, it seems to be working better than the other shopping carts that we were using. So, which kind of makes sense because it's on Simple Programmer's domain. So they're not going to like Zaxa.com, which is it doesn't sound shady at all. So that's just basically been my entire week. I had a goal of getting 1 product per day moved over, which would have had me finishing up today, I think. But I just did them all got them all done on like Tuesday, I think. So, and it's been working pretty smoothly. So the only thing is, I have to go back now. There's something, the way that I'm using a plugin to try to do the 1-click upsells after they make the purchase, and something's not right with that. So I need to go back through, and I turned that off for now, and I'm going to go back next week maybe, or the week after, and get that completely set up. I was thinking, John, I might actually just hire now since we bought this plugin, we can get customer support to help for the plugin to help us. And we actually already talked to the developer who created the plugin. We were thinking about hiring him to do a custom WordPress or a custom WooCommerce thing for us. And he's like, well, I'm working on this plugin right now. And so I'm going to try to work with their support first and get it working. And then if I can't, if they need to do more custom work or something, then we might be able to hire them. So at least now the nice thing is it's all very visible and I can troubleshoot the issues. Whereas with ThriveCart, I could never really even validate that there was an issue because it always seemed to work fine for me. And then people kept emailing and they were getting errors, and we actually just got another error report from somebody on the upsells. So it was just a complete mess on ThriveCart. But
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
You mentioned so this looks really great, and I'm kind of tempted to move my stuff over to it. One thing that I'm wondering about is the T-shirts. So I don't see them listed here.
Right.
So are they on a different store, or how does
they're
that work?
not? I need to, let me look at that real quick. I'm not sure. They might just be hidden. I can tell you that. I was wondering the same thing. The T-shirts were not showing up for me. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. And I was going to look into that. And so let me just look into that real quick.
I was seeing them when I went to the store.
Were you?
Yeah.
They're right next to the Quest bars.
Yeah, it says
the Quest bars.
It says, I think it might be, you know what it might be? I think that the store, I think that the shop page, like the front page, might only be listing the courses.
If you go store/store/shop, it's got everything. But if it's just store, it's only the courses. It's bestsellers, that's why.
Yeah, I need to,
because it's got bestsellers, it's got on sale.
Right. Yeah, I think I need to configure that front page. I might actually end up hiring a WooCommerce developer to make that page look the way that I want it to look. But basically I'm kind of I'm not promoting the store front at all right now, and all the products link straight into sales pages, and they don't even you don't actually ever see the add to cart anything. You don't see any of that stuff when you buy a course with the way that I have it set up. You go straight you go to the sales page, and then you go to the checkout page where you enter your billing information, and then you're done. So it doesn't really look like WooCommerce necessarily when you're buying through the emails or through the links on the site.
Gotcha. So, I have another question for you. So the T-shirts, the reason that I'm asking too is that I want to start selling T-shirts for the shows again.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have that set up? Because I'm assuming you're not putting T-shirts in boxes and shipping them. You probably have someone else doing that.
So, John, what is that company that we're using for that again?
I believe it's Cool Shirts or two. It was dang it, isn't it?
Yeah, the guys. I think the owner's name is Daniel. He reached out. Yeah. I've been talking to him this week to get. So basically, Chuck, the way it works is there's a WooCommerce plugin that you get, a ShipStation. It's ShipStation's like it's kind of like I think it's Zapier for drop shipping or like print on demand type of providers. So they have a ShipStation account. You install this plugin. You give them the there's like an identification key, like an app ID type of thing. You give that to them, and then they can just ping your WooCommerce store and check for orders, and then they pull the order and fulfill it. So all I had to do to move it I just had to set the products up in WooCommerce and get the sizes set up correctly and everything. And then I just installed this plugin and gave him the information from the plugin, and then he updated it on his end. So,
gotcha. Okay, that's easy.
Yep.
I would like an introduction. And
I'll make a note.
I'm seriously tempted. This looks really great. I'm seriously tempted to move most of my stuff over here as well.
Well, it'll take you 1.5 years. So no, it wasn't that bad. What it actually took me the longest was just like figuring out how to recreate all the functionality I wanted with plugins. So I had to like test out, like I had to go, okay, well, I know I want to be able to have the checkout page look like this. So is there a plugin that will let me do that? And then, I went out and looked for plugins. And so that was like basically like thinking about the funnel that I wanted and then finding the right pieces. Because WooCommerce is really, it's more for e-commerce, like, like I sell custom jewelry or like that type of thing. Like it's kind of more what it's designed for. So it definitely handles the info products pretty well the way that I have it set up, but it's not really the main thing that most people use it for. So you have to kind of piece together something like ThriveCart is designed more for, that's a business model that we have. So in theory, it's better, but in practice, it just doesn't give you any flexibility. So you don't have if something doesn't work the way you want, then you're stuck with it. But what was that, Manny?
You're SOL. You're straight out of luck when it doesn't work.
Exactly. Yep.
And I'm annoying the hell out of you sometimes.
Yeah. So but the integration, the delivery through Podia that I've been using that part of it's bulletproof. So I have had 0 issues with people. Like we used to get people all the time with Zaxa, we'd uploaded the files to Amazon S3, and then they had to download these large, like multi-gigabyte files from Amazon. And some people, like depending where they lived, didn't have, ultra fast internet connections. So they were getting timeouts, and we would get multiple people every week would be like unable to download it. I was always sending out Dropbox links to get around the delivery. And then with ThriveCart, it was just as bad because they don't even support any digital delivery. Like you're basically on your own. So I set up this membership site on Simple Programmer, where people could log in, and then I would have to, basically I just used a WordPress page and I gave them a link to download those same multi-gigabyte files from Amazon. So it was the same, all the same. What's that?
I've been able to build such a big business without having a real, protected content delivery system or a core system. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I know. Like that yeah, I know. I was pretty stunned, and I actually asked them early on if they were ever going to add that, and they were like, "Nope." I'm like, really? Samcart's the same way. This is like the digital file delivery was one of those things on my list that was one of like my criteria, and a lot of them don't actually offer really any way to do that. So with WooCommerce, you can build your own. There's like so many. There's tons of ways to do it. But I hated all the membership plugins, so we just used Podia, and I'm just using Zapier. So you buy the product. It runs. There's a little zap that fires, and it just creates an account for you on Podia, which is learn.simpleprogrammer.com. All the products are up there. The front end is really nice. Like you get a it's like you get a nice player experience, like almost like with Pluralsight, where you've got the menu down the left side of the screen, and then the video is real big in the front, and then you just kind of watch. You can kind of just watch through the videos that way. Similar, Teachable's the same way. So yeah, I could have used either of those two platforms.
Yeah, I have the same kind of thing going with Thinkific. So
yeah,
that part of it is solid.
Yep. So that I've had zero problems with that, and it's with one of those platforms. It's so easy to create the courses. Like all you do, I mean, they're like drag and drop. They're like you're just adding sections and then drag and drop files in. Name the files however you want, and you're done. So it's really fast to create a new course. I think I could probably create a new course now. If I had all the videos and everything, I could probably get it set up in under an hour. So a lot of minutes. What's that? Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I have to create Thrivecart was easier to set up products. For me, it takes it's more like might take me half an hour to do all the setup in WooCommerce. So it's a little Thrivecart's little wizard for creating new products was pretty spectacular, but
very nicely turnkey.
Yep. So, but yeah, so I'm so happy to be done with that. And I was just like, I've been trying to like gracefully like think about how to move everything, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just like, screw it. I'm just redirecting everything. I'm just throwing it all at the new system, and there's going to be some stuff that's going to be like, we'll probably get a few emails from people who are like, hey, my discount code's not working, or whatever, but I'll just deal with that as it comes, because it was just too painful. There was so many different things to update that this way I've got 95% of it done right, and then the rest of it I'm just gonna deal with it as it comes up. So but
Josh, I wanna ask you about any kind of promotion we want to do next, because I want to plan it accordingly for my March. Because what happens is once you guys tell me, hey, we're going to do this, I have to make sure I increase the prices with my list and do all those things so that it's not like a random price change and then a price drop and all that stuff. So let's figure out whatever you guys want in terms of the package. I know you have ideas and timeline. Give me a timeline and let's figure out the timeline and the topic so that I can basically execute that.
Okay, so we talked about a few different things over email, and so a few ideas I had were we talked about the self-confidence thing. Well, for one thing, I'm pretty sure what we want to do is some sort of low-priced impulse buy type of front end. So whether somewhere between $5 and $9 on the pricing, and then upsells, right, and in-cart bumps and everything. So a few ideas that we talked about was like the self-confidence thing was one. I also was thinking about maybe putting together some kind of package that's a little bit more targeted around an objective, like getting your first programming job. So, like if we had to give, if somebody is graduating this spring, what are the 10 books they need to read between now and May to really help them get their mindset right and hit the ground running when it comes to getting that job?
You think we might have trouble selling that because it's not like these are not technical books?
Right. No, I'm that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so the technical stuff they're presumably getting right in school. So I'm thinking like what are the 10 books that you would have people read
I mean,
about the job hunt process. You know what I mean?
I'd much rather approach it like, that's a tough one. It's different. I mean, if it's not technical books, it's hard to.
Or about getting a raise. So like there's, like John has some books that he's recommended, like the starting with no, or like there's some really good books on negotiation. So that's a book that would go, like, you need to understand this. If you're going to be applying for a job, you need to understand how to negotiate. So we'd have a negotiation book in there.
What about like relationship building and social skills in general? And you can tailor them. We could tailor them to whatever they need. So that one kind of is more like how to build relationships so you can climb the ladder, or how to.
I was thinking one about leadership, like working with how to become a leader on your team.
Okay.
That could be a good one.
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Things like extreme ownership and
exactly.
A lot of Maxwell, John Maxwell, and
how to get your idea, how to sell your ideas to your team.
So like Robert Cialdini influence, like all those persuasion books.
Right. But yeah, I mean, so like I would just like to think about them. I would like to name the packages so that they're a little bit more results focused, right?
That's a really cool idea, because see, Manny, I think that what Josh is saying makes a lot of sense, because if you think about any objective that you can come up with, I mean, you and I could probably come up with like 5 or 10 books that, like, oh, you're trying to do this? Yeah, read these books. And those books would be situational, I mean, for multiple things. And there's some kind of overarching ones that would really fit into pretty much any category. But that makes a lot of sense, because then it's like, it's a very specific, it's like, you've got a headache, here's an aspirin approach. Right. Yep. Which I think that'll sell really well, because people are like, oh yeah, these are the books that will help me to do this.
Yeah. Versus being topical, like the topical. So it's really just another way of packaging the stuff. And you could probably take a lot of the books that would be in a self-confidence type of book or type of package, and 5 of those might end up in like this job hunting thing that I'm suggesting. Or
I mean, we want to avoid overlap as much as possible, because then people who have bought one will bulk because they'll be like, oh shit, I already have 5 of these, so why do I need this one?
Yeah, that's true.
It depends too. Well, it depends on how you do the summaries too, and what angle. Like, if you're doing because you can draw different things out of the same book, right? Depending on the objective, right? Like on the lens you're looking at. So if you're looking at the lens,
it's hard to sell that idea that, hey, by the way, I'm doing a different summary for this.
I don't think it will be. All right. So one thing to think about with this is that with what we're selling them on is the idea, there's less selling required for one thing, because it's basically we're giving them something that we're telling them will help them with what they already want to do. So, and at this price point also, it's going to be an impulse buy. Like, people are going to scan the book list and they're going to go, okay, this looks good, and they're going to just buy it. I mean, like, they're not going to. It's not going to be this long agonizing thing where they're going to read the sales page multiple times. And so I think we don't have to worry about that so much. I like what John's saying about you. I think we could sell that through email too, and just say, look, like these are the ideas from this book that are relevant to this specific objective. Like, I don't think that's a difficult thing to do.
So I'm thinking.
Well, the other thing that I see is that I see that you could also market one way to people who have already bought packages that include those books, and market a different way to basically your new or cold traffic. So, you know, if somebody's already bought a package that has 2 out of the 10 books in it, then you're like, look, you already have a package that has 2 of the 10 books, so we're going to give you a 20% discount. And then you send the email to everybody else, and it says, hey, go, you know, so it has the same sales pitch, but, you know, the value prop is a little bit different.
Yeah, and Manny's list will probably get a chance at this first, I would imagine. So
What's that?
Your list will probably get a chance at these first. So
well, I wouldn't even sell the smaller bundles to my list because that's too much of a hassle to even sell those at, because I do more like my list is not that big. You guys are able to do that at the $9 price point. I cannot afford to do promotions at $9 price point.
Right.
Plus, his list is looking specifically for book summaries packages, whereas our lists would be looking for objectives for their job.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very, very, very true. I think yeah. So I think seems like social, like relationship building, climbing the ladder, negotiations, all that stuff is on the table. Right.
Yeah. Let me grab my copy of the book real quick.
Well, yeah, we've been. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, basically, if we just go through this, like, I mean, pretty much almost any chapter could be.
Yeah. The other thing I was wondering if it would be a good idea at some point is because you guys did the interview cake thing.
Right.
I think what about doing an interview mindset thing? Because that's like huge, especially stress of a job interview and handling that. That would not be a book summary. It would be more like a course that I would record because that's my, like, that's what I've done.
So.
And we would sell it at a higher price point than even $29 maybe, if possible.
Yeah, I feel like I would like to try that at some point, but 2 thoughts. One is if we do more of these summaries first, the list will know you better.
Okay, fair.
The other one is I'm not entirely sure on the interviewing thing because when I do emails about it, I don't get it. Hasn't been as big of a topic as I thought it would be.
Hang on, we're doing summaries for interviews, right? Or are we changing that?
Well, that was one of the ideas that we'd thrown out. Yeah.
Because if it's not interview, maybe we talk about corporate ladder climbing as you guys are talking about. And that's a completely different game, relationships and all that stuff. I think people skills. What about people skills in the corporate environment or something like results towards getting them to, soft skills for developers. Hey, how about that?
That sounds like a good idea. I think that could work. I
don't know if John's list is interested in that topic, though.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But so I did an email this week that got a decent level of interest about networking and like building relationships. So that would be one that I would definitely be interested in. So like I'm thinking books like Never Eat Alone, right? And there's some other like.
So let's what would be the end result we're selling? So then I can exactly target those books. Networking is still like a broad topic. What's the end result we're selling?
That's a good question. I'm actually thinking about this because I'm considering. I talked to John about this yesterday, but I'm considering that the next big course that we launch might be about building your network through LinkedIn. So I think I need. What's that?
Building your network.
Yeah, building your network as a developer, building your developer network. I mean, I need to. What I'm planning to do is go through. I've got a bunch of survey data, and I need to go through it and figure out, like, for the LinkedIn course, like what's the most appealing result that I can promise, and I don't have a good answer for that right now.
Okay, so in the ballpark of building a network is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
As a professional or as anyone, it doesn't really matter. building a network is the key here.
Yep.
Okay, I think we can
That's a lot of my course is about. If you wanted to promo that once I get the final version up, which will probably be next week.
Yeah, I'm interested in looking at that too, Chuck. So
nice.
Could potentially do something there.
Yeah.
Promotion.
Yeah, one thing that we haven't done in the past, but I don't know. I mean, we could probably do it now that we've got the WooCommerce thing. It's an interesting concept of upselling, downselling, or cross-selling affiliate promotions, right? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that would be kind of interesting because then you can you can kind of like, let's say, okay, scenario. We've got Josh, you created the LinkedIn course, which is kind of our flagship course, expensive course. We've got Manny's book summaries on networking. We've got Chuck's course on networking, right? So you kind of have now this possibility where you do a big launch to the list of Josh's course, but then you have an upsell or an add-on for the book summaries or for Chuck's course, right? And then maybe like a month later, you actually do a launch of the book summaries, right? And then that actually has an upsell for the link to Josh's LinkedIn course, right? And so, and then the same thing with Chuck's course. And so you're still like, you're doing all three of those, but every time you're also benefiting from the other ones because you've got these, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of a synergistic effect there. The only difficulty is like the complexity of figuring out how to do affiliate like tracking and whatnot with upsells.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in that case, probably what I would do would be to create all three products. We'd have to take payment for all the products,
right?
And then we would just have a standing agreement on the sale, the gross, or the gross sales of that particular product. And then I'd create all three as separate products in WooCommerce, and then
you do the delivery.
Set up Zapier to actually handle, my Zapier account could add people to your Teachable account, Manny, with the right product potentially. So
you would need my login and password for that.
Yeah, or you could create a Google spreadsheet, and I update the Google spreadsheet, and then that triggers a Zapier on your end. But yeah, there's like different ways we could do that. But that is possible now that we have the.
Or we can just say in 24 hours you'll get delivery, and then you give me the spreadsheet, and we can just do that. Nobody minds it. Like people are cool with most of the stuff like this. They don't care.
Well, especially if it's understood that, hey, this is a product that we personally, Simple Programmer doesn't actually, deliver.
Right.
Yeah.
So it basically, hey, here's the product that you actually bought, and hey, we're contacting our partner and you'll hear from them soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So I kind of am going to focus on the social/networking part of the book summaries, and we can splinter off and we can do whatever fancy versions we want to do with it, different stuff. So that'll be my focus for the next probably month or so. So we can talk about doing different variants of it.
That sounds good. And I'll probably have a better idea for you in a week or two what kind of like end result, because what I have a survey that I did, that I have like this evergreen survey that I have that's just running, basically asking like what are you stuck, like what's your biggest obstacle right now in your career? And I need to go through, I have like 800 responses that I need to go through and look for the right language.
Use word cloud or something, like just putting them all in a cloud to see.
No, I just read them multiple times. I print it out in a spreadsheet. I sort whenever I do a survey, I sort by character count. So I look for the people that have written me like a small novel in the tiny little survey textbook. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And then I kind of just read through those and look for recurring themes. And I'll usually go through it like 3 or 4 times. And the first time you don't see any patterns, and 2 or 3 times stuff starts jumping out. So, So I need to figure out. But the LinkedIn. So this I started thinking about this this week and with the LinkedIn course. And so the reason I'm thinking that LinkedIn, well, for one thing, I did that email an email about asking people if they were interested in training on LinkedIn like a couple weeks ago, and I got like 90 replies to it. It was ridiculous. It was like the most response I've ever gotten to any email where I've sent out like asking a question. So that was interesting. I've sent out 2 or 3.
What was the email title and what was the subject? Like, what did you put in there?
The subject line, or
what was the email? What was the exact wording in there?
So,
or what was the line of thought?
what was that email? Let me look. I can tell you real quick. So I've done 2 LinkedIn emails recently. One of them was I did last week, and it got a pretty high open rate. And then, so I put LinkedIn in the subject line of the second email just to see if that would do anything, and it seemed to spike the opens quite a bit. Oh yeah, so this one was called "Can Developers Survive Without Social Media?" And so I was talking just about like Facebook. It wasn't even about LinkedIn. I was talking about Facebook and how like the just like all the garbage that gets spewed on Facebook and Twitter and everything. And basically, because this guy asked us a question like, do I need to be on Facebook and Twitter to succeed in my career? And I was saying, like, this was from a video John did. We basically were saying, no, you don't have to. But the one channel that I think developers do need to be on is LinkedIn, because, you know, it comes up first when they Google your name and everything. And so I threw a PS on there and said, like, if you're interested in a training on how to do LinkedIn, hit reply and let me know. And I got 90 replies. What?
A training on how to do LinkedIn? Is that what you said? Because
yeah.
What I'm trying to figure out is, like, what was the end result you promised in that email?
I did not promise them anything. I just mentioned LinkedIn and asked if they were interested in. It was just literally just throwing a topic out there, and we got 90 replies from people that were interested. So,
if you don't mind, I don't know if you are cool with that. Like, if you can share the responses with me, I'll take a look, because that will help me define the way I would see. Like,
they were mostly just people saying, "Yeah, I'm interested." So I can share. There's stuff I can share with you, though. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, it will just help me like understand the psychology of where they're coming from and what kind of books that would help them the most.
Yeah. So,
like,
but what I'm thinking with the link, like if I do this LinkedIn course, I'm thinking that what I would be doing would actually be teaching the career guide and how to market yourself through LinkedIn. So it would be like everything, like basically to do LinkedIn right, you need to choose a specialty, and you need to, you know, pick some companies that you want to work at, so you have a very clear audience of people that you're going after, and then you need to approach them in such a way that you're adding value. And like, so it's like I could take everything. You
did watch my course, I swear. This is exactly what I tell people to do.
I can take everything that John teaches in the other courses and books and stuff, and then just sort of help them implement it in this one specific area. And they'll get LinkedIn, you know, they'll get some good training on LinkedIn out of it, but then they'll also get all this other stuff that really applies to everything that they do. So it's almost like a sneaky way of teaching. It's kind of a sell what they want, teach them what they need type of thing. So we'll see. I'm really thinking I'm going to do this though, and I'm going to teach it as me. So so that's kind of nerve-wracking to like possibly step out from behind the curtain. I'm also going to have to sell me as John. So that'll be really awkward. But
hold on, you're going to say it's Josh or you're going to say it's John?
No, I'm going to. Well, the emails will be coming out. I'll be writing the emails, selling myself, but I'll be writing them under John's name.
Yeah.
So I have to say all kinds of outrageous stuff about myself to get, you know, to handle, because I'm going to have to establish the credibility, you know, with the audience, and then because I'm going to teach the whole course. But
yeah, that would be awesome. He'll have like, it's like having a blank check from me.
Yeah,
saying anything he wants about himself, right?
Yeah. Well, what I do is I look. So John said some pretty nice things about me in videos and stuff. So I usually try to stick to that stuff.
You can always say like John you can understand, like, when of course at the bottom it always says John Sonmez. So at the top you can say Josh is the one I learned everything about life from. He's my guru, he's my mentor, he's my everything. Now that's done. Now it's your list. Now it's not John's list anymore.
Yeah, there we go. Yep.
There we go. Yeah, the man behind
John is just a pretty face. That's all. That's all it is.
Pretty good worked out.
Yep. So yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of what I've been thinking about and working on this week.
Oh, I got to I interviewed Pat Flynn on YouTube yesterday, so that was kind of cool.
You've been on his show, right?
I have not. No.
Oh,
no.
okay. Well,
but he did say that he was going to have me on either his YouTube or podcast. So
nice.
So that's cool.
So you want to get on it? That's where the real passion is.
What was that?
You want to be on his podcast if possible.
Yeah, it'd be good to if I can. Yeah, he said definitely that that we would do something on the other side. So that's cool. So that's kind of cool, like full circle. I think Smart Passive Income was the first entrepreneurial podcast that I ever was listening to.
Yep.
And it kind of really got me into all of this stuff, right? I think Josh and I were listening to that way back when. So it's kind of cool to come full circle and actually have Pat on the YouTube channel and him be excited to be on the YouTube channel. It's a good opportunity for him. So
yeah,
that's kind of cool. So
yep.
Yeah. All right, should we do thoughts for the week?
Yeah. Awkward pause.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something smart to say.
I can't select my thoughts.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. So,
do none of us have any thoughts for the week?
I mean, for
I
me,
think my
mostly,
thought has been this week just to keep the momentum with the customers when you acquire them, in the sense, like, be on top of their mind just after their bots. Try to, like, stay in touch with them, because over time they kind of lose it. They kind of lose you, or they forget a lot about you over time. So the more I can stay in touch with them, the easier it gets in the future.
yes.
Yep.
See, I was saying.
So this, go ahead, John.
I was gonna say mine is to embrace contradictions. I would say is because most of life is actually contradictions, and most of the paths to success are involve some kind of contradiction. I was listening to a book. I can't remember the name of the book, but it's by Maslow. The psychology where we get Maslow's hierarchy, right? And he was talking about essentially that, like, one of the weird things that he was discovering in his studies of human psychology is that in order to achieve, like, the path to kind of the Buddhist kind of oneness, sort of no self or no thing, that path strangely involved someone becoming more self-actualized, which means finding their identity. So in order to, like, dissolve ego, they essentially had to very much find ego. And it's kind of this weird contradiction. He was like, I don't understand why this is, but it seems like these things, that don't go together. And he was also talking a lot about just got me thinking about how some of the things that we think are opposites, and this might have been, no, I think it was that book, but that these things aren't necessarily opposites, because he was talking about how some people, like a lot of his most self-actualized clients, were people who were selfish, unselfish, right? Like they were both selfish and unselfish. Like, he couldn't really classify them. And so, and the reason why is because, like, we want to, like, the whole thing, I think maybe if we look at a conceptual level as why, like, contradictions exist is because it's some kind of a classification, right? It's easy for us to, like, take the world and, like, we have to take the world, we have to take concepts and we have to abstract them and categorize them so we can talk about them and think about them. But in reality, it's almost, like Plato's, forms. It's in reality, like, things can't be classified. Everything is unique. Everything, there's no abstraction, like the reality of the thing. And so we see things as contradictions because we think the opposite of up is down, right? Because we've just labeled those things. But in reality, like, if you embrace the contradictions that people have, embrace contradictions in the ways to do things, so sometimes the best way to get what you want is to not want it. Right? If you want something too bad, it goes away from you. It's hard to get, right? Like getting a loan when you
it's actually right there. It is both. It's not
right.
one or the other.
What's that?
To really want, it's both. It's not one or the other. As you're saying, the contradiction is there. You have to really want it, but you have to almost be at a point where it doesn't even matter if you get it or not. It's like complete desire, but complete detachment.
Exactly. Which is one of those contradictions in life, right? So it's like that. And so, like, instead of trying to, I think it's real easy to go down the path and be like, and some people are like, I'm a good person, so I must always be good, or I'm this kind of thing, so I must always be this. And they don't realize that these contradictions, like embracing these contradictions, are the things that actually leads to the greatest success. You can't just be this one thing, or you can't just strive for this one value, attribute, virtue, whatever it is. So there's my thought.
When is your philosophy course coming out again, John?
When is it not coming out?
Yeah, you can get it live every week on YouTube. I think my thought's going to center mostly around just the, having that weekly routine that I talked about, making a difference. Yesterday wasn't super productive, but I had a couple things come up. However, the week or Wednesday was extremely productive, and it was just because I knew what I had to do and when I had to do it. And so I kind of had that payoff come into play. And so I think in a lot of cases, yeah, we just need that plan. We need to know what we have to do and not have to think about it. And that like I said, that's been a major payoff for me, at least this week. And so if you're looking for how do I do this, how do I get things together, and you find yourself kind of flailing about trying to make decisions, maybe you need something like that to actually step in and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to make these decisions ahead of time, and then have that pay for itself by not having to make the decisions now.
Yeah, I don't have anything super profound here, but I guess one thing that hit me this week is that just how cyclical things can be. So we, I was wondering if I was imagining it just because I'm paying attention to the emails that come in more, because I'm in John's email all the time, looking for problems and answering questions and stuff. And it seems like we've gotten a lot of refund requests lately.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I was like, I searched the inbox for refund, and it was like 8, like we'd gotten like 8 or 9 and one chargeback. And I'm like, what in the world is going on just in the last 2 weeks? Normally I looked back at like last quarter for like November, December, January, or October, November, December of last year, we were averaging like 2 to 4 refunds a month. And now we've got like 8 in the last week and a half. So I went back and I was like, well, okay, let me look at January, February of last year. Oh, big spike in refund requests last year. So between like in January and February, we got 14 refund requests when we normally would get 4 to 6 in that time frame. And I think it's end of year. People are like maxed out credit cards, or they're recovering from the holidays, and they're realizing all the goals they didn't achieve, and they're just sort of cleaning house. And so they come back and they ask for, and this is one of the things that they do, is they they come back and ask for refunds. So yeah, so this is just something to be aware of, that this happens every year. So you know, there's usually a reason for this type of thing, and a lot of times it tends to be cyclical stuff. So I was pretty bummed, but now I'm not so bummed.
Interesting.
Yep, it's fun. It's a refund.
Yes. Really belligerent. It's always, there's always like the people that you know feel the most guilty about it. Well, the worst people are the ones that do the chargebacks because they don't want to talk to you.
Right.
But then the next worst is the people that are just like, they have to tear you to shreds so they don't feel so bad about asking for their money back.
Exactly. Yeah, they give such explanation, like,
yeah,
you know, like reasons. Like, these are the 5 reasons why, you know, it's like this paragraph, like this, like multiple paragraph, and you're like, fucking wasting my time as well. Thank you.
Well, they feel like they won't get a refund if they don't give all these reasons. So they have to write all these reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right.
All righty, guys.
See you guys next week then.
All right.
All
Bye.
All right, bye.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derek as we figure it out. We are the EntreProgrammers, and we'll teach you straight up